Hey, everybody, time for a Game 5 edition of the Goldie on Ice podcast. Panthers and Maple Leafs all tied up, 2 games apiece. Game number 5 here in Toronto. Let's let you know where to find me and us on our Panthers Script Sports broadcast tonight. Again, 30 minutes before every game. We've got a full pregame show for you, coverage from the studio and from the rink as well. Coverage starts at 6:30 p.m. That's WSFL all throughout South Florida, Channel 39. South Florida is 9 in Palm Beach County, all the way up to Sebastian. And then over on the West Coast, Laugh TV in the Fort Myers area. And just a reminder, because I've gotten a lot of these questions during this series, you don't need any cable television, any streaming provider to watch our games in the regular season that are locally broadcast and the first round of the playoffs and these pregame shows. You can just go buy an antenna and plug it in. I know for people maybe my age, we remember those days. But for everybody else, if you're a little bit younger, you don't need anything. Just go to a store or online and buy an antenna. Most of them, I think, are HDMI now, and you just plug it into your TV, and you get all of the free stations that are just out there, and that includes our Script Sports station, Channel 39 and Channel 9 in Palm Beach County. So clear that up, by the way. Gotten a lot of questions as well since the merchandise is out. All for charity, the donations, the money. Let's go homebaby.shop. If you want to pick up t-shirt, a mug, or anything, check it out online. Let's go homebaby.shop. All right, let's get down to some hockey now. Panthers and the Maple Leafs. It's been a home series. I mean, obviously, the home team has won every game so far in this series. I think the Panthers, I'm not sure if it was, I talked to Carter Verhaeghe after game 1, and at one point he used the word, complacent. We don't want to be that. Angry. We could channel that into details. Whatever reason, maybe the first round in some ways was a little easier than they thought. They would probably never be able to say that because they're the ones playing, but us watching, I don't think anybody thought it would go 5. Everyone thought it would be a 6-7 game series. Then they had some time off. Whatever the reason, they weren't. And maybe the stylistic difference between Tampa and Toronto, whatever the reason was, they didn't look like themselves really for the full games. Game 1, first period, not great. Game 2, they started well, took a few penalties. It was just kind of choppy. And there were stretches in there where they looked really good. There was probably a few of those 9 goals that Sergei Bobrovsky would probably make the save 9 out of 10 times and didn't. And yet, as we said here on the podcast after game 2, it's a 1-goal game. I mean, you're 1 bounce away from getting those games tied. Then they come home, go down 2 goals twice while down 2 games in a series. And that tells you all you need to know about this team, what they've built from ownership right on through to Bill Zito and Paul Maurice and really every guy with this team. Because most of the time, when you're down 0-2 in a series and you've got 2, not 1, but 2 goal holes in that game 3, I'm not sure what the odds are on that. I'd be curious to know how many of those teams have come back to win a series. Obviously, it's a minority. And they worked so hard. They got that goal right back from Barkov. And, they're down 2-1. And then, you're feeling pretty good. And then they get that 3rd goal and you're right back in the same boat. And since that time, they played 5+ periods of hockey in this series. And the Panthers have outscored the Toronto Maple Leafs 6-1 over the last 5+ periods. And certainly game 4, it reminded me a lot of game number 7 against Edmonton last June to win the Stanley Cup. I mean, they were on it immediately, giving up no room, playing a smart, simple game. The gap from the defense was awesome. Forwards got in on that forecheck, banged around the D, and that certainly helped the defense be able to play that hard gap system because you're not letting them out of their zone easily. So, and Sergei Bobrovsky, although not a lot of quantity. Of course, is going to have some quality. Toronto's a good team. Everybody's a good team. You're down to the final 8. Panthers did a good job, even strength. They only allowed 6 high danger chances. And obviously, Sergei made every save, including a few good ones. And I think the Panthers kind of frustrated the Maple Leafs a bit. And Toronto started running around and doing some things that maybe they don't usually do. And I think that works in the Panthers' favor. So, hey, when the puck drops for Game 5, really, as we know in these playoff series, nothing that's happened so far really means much. And it's a whole new night. And Toronto's going to be desperate because the last thing they want to do is have to come back to Amerant Bank Arena and South Florida facing elimination against the Stanley Cup champions. But great job by the Panthers after falling into a little bit of a hole. Not that I don't think they really thought they were in much of a hole. They were pretty confident, and they knew, this team does a great job of adjusting and, changing what needs to be changed. They understand exactly what they need to do, and they certainly stepped it up in a big way, especially, like I said, since they were down 3-1 in the second period of game number 3. So, Game 5 comes up. Toronto, great news up here in Toronto. Anthony Stolarz, who everybody loves from last year with the Panthers, terrific guy, is skating again. So that's good news for him. Whether or not he plays in the series, don't know, because now we're going every other day. So this series is either going to end one way or the other on Friday or at the latest on Sunday. And the way Joseph Woll played in game number 4, I'm not so sure Toronto will be in a rush to, rush Anthony Stolarz back in. You kind of look at those two goalies, and maybe in some ways, I know Anthony had a great year, and he was the guy down the stretch. He was taking that job over, but, Joseph Woll's played fine. So maybe in some ways interchangeable for Toronto. We'll see. It doesn't look like any other lineup changes for the Maple Leafs. They've been a very good team all year. They won the division. Craig Berube's a veteran coach, and, he'll just stick with what got them there. But the Panthers have done a masterful job defensively on Matthews and Marner, and at home they did a great job against that Tavares line. We'll see now. Leafs get the last change. Do they try to change some things up? I thought, even though he'll never take credit for it, I thought Paul Maurice made a series-changing decision at home with the last change, getting Lundell's line on against Matthews' line and freeing up, Barkov and Reinhart a little bit, and a great move getting Verhaeghe to go with Bennett and Tkachuk. That line has been dynamic, and Matthew looks like he's, all the way back from the injury, and Bennett's had a great playoff as well. So, you got to be optimistic, and of course, swapping out the fourth line at the right time, down 0-2, perhaps stylistically. And you know what? When Rodriguez got hit by Ekman Larsson and left the game, Tomas Nosek had some great shifts up on the wing with Barkov and Reinhart on that top line. That was pretty impressive by Tomas Nosek, a true pro, a true veteran. Think about it. This guy was grinding all year long. Fourth line center. They go make a trade in March at the deadline. Nico Sturm comes in. He sits for at least, a good amount of time, basically loses his job. Always stays ready, gets back in there, and not only gets back in, then he's got to take top-line shifts in Game 4 with a team down 2-1 in a one-goal game. In the series down 2-1. So all credit to Tomas Nosek, and we've seen this over the years. That's what this team is built. That guys step in, guys that don't play are just as happy for the guys that are playing, and it's really great to see. So Panther fans, enjoy it. You don't get these runs very often. The window is wide open. 2 straight Eastern Conference Finals, 1 Stanley Cup. And, in Game 5, if they get a win, you love where they are because obviously they got 2 games to get 1 to go back again to the Eastern Conference Final. But first things first, they're going to face a hungry, tough Toronto team in game number 5. All right. Subscribe, spread the word, check it out, and thanks as always for listening to the Goldie on Ice podcast.